Hello everyone, this is Michael. Welcome back to our talk about Feed the Kraken. Today I'm again joined by Hendrik Noack, our artist, and Steffen Rühl, one of the founders of Funtails. So we will also hear about how our illustrator gets into the mood when drawing these beautiful character artworks. Well, Hendrik, could you give our listeners some insight into the process of creating artworks for board games?
So first of all, there's the briefing. And in this briefing, I'm told firm about the mechanics the card has. And the most important thing in the briefing for me is the photos of the persons who should be portraited. And I also get some photos of how the art direction wants the clothing to look, or which accessoires should the character have in his hands, or all these little things. But these are just suggestions from art direction, so I have to basically, you let me a lot of freedom and I can decide how I want it to look. And then I start by making a quick sketch of the character, which has all of the important features already in it. So art direction and the rest of the team can take a look at the sketch and decide if I'm on the right track, or if we should change something in the early stage already. Yeah, and when everything is signed, basically, I start to work on the sketch and put the first color on it and decide where the light is and where in the backgrounds, by the way, which I designed before. So backgrounds are changeable, and so I place my sketch on the background I did already before and start painting. And during process, I take several steps of my progression and show it to art direction and the rest of the team. And if there's something wrong, they tell me and I intervene. And that's most of the time the case. Everyone is quite happy, or just little things I should change and stuff. And that's how we reach the goal of having the characters, or having the real people in the game, but in our setting. And that's what I do by just adding little, like here, right now you can see the earrings or the flowers in the hair and stuff, and I make them look more piratey, basically.
I've received quite a lot of feedback from our reviewers for the artwork, for the character artwork, and I think I've never spoken to you in person about it, but they all love the character artwork. I want to use this moment and say, Hendrik, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. And I sit here in my little room, right, and on my graphic tablet, and I design and I draw and I paint. And there's a lot of hours going into this. And hearing something like this is always like, getting the motivation going and getting me going to stand up every day and paint. So it's not that you get born with this and it comes from it just flows from your fingers or something. No, it's really hard work, and you have to invest a lot of hours in this, or at least me, I have to. So if the client is happy, that makes me happy, and especially when the people portrayed are happy, that is the biggest compliment I can get. So thank you a lot.
Thank you. And it makes such a difference. I felt now it's our third game that we're doing. And now that I'm doing all the marketing planning and doing the campaigns and looking for the motives of what we do in marketing and looking for illustration for the newsletter, there's such a huge step forward from what we did in the beginning and now what we have with Feed the Kraken. And it's so enjoyable because we started earlier. We have these cool artworks, and I'm sitting on the newsletters now and on blog posts, and I have this huge pool of fantastic artworks, which it's a joy to make the marketing now. You know, in the past it was a bit like, oh, what artwork can we take? And I mean, it's maybe in the last game, there were a lot more artworks to be done on small tiles, so the scale obviously was different. Right. But this opens up so many possibilities now to communicate the game, and I think that the artworks that you do transport a lot of the feeling of the flow of the game, and well, that's basically what we are trying to sell to people. It's not just the box of the game, but it's the feeling of when you play the game, and this is really a joy to work with.
Yeah, there's so much compliments I can't comprehend.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you. How do you prepare yourself to get into this pirate mood? Like, or have you got like a ritual that you do before starting? Like, do you drink a bottle of rum and then you put on your pirate hats or whatever?
No, it's much more simple basically. But there is ways I try to get into the setting I'm working on. That was the case back then with Glenmore 2. I listened a lot of Scottish folk stuff when I was painting in the background. And here it was the same. Yeah, I really actually listened to a lot. There's a 10-hour version of the Monkey Island theme on YouTube. And I love that tune because nostalgia and stuff. And but I listen to a lot of or Ailstorm because I'm a metalhead, and I'm going on Spotify or YouTube and just search for piratey stuff, or I listen to video game music, like I said, from Monkey Island or so I like to get into the setting not only visually, and in the beginning I don't have much visuals because I have only my own sketch. Right. So it's always helped to have some more input audio-wise to get me into the mood and get me into the setting. And when I have some time in the evening, I also try to look up stuff maybe I can even play, which might inspire me. Like when I was doing Feed the Kraken, I often played Sea of Thieves, just to get this feeling of open water and to get inspired from this vision, this pirate spirit. And that's a big part of the fun, getting into the setting.
Now in the background we see this really beautiful artwork of the herbalist. First, when we got the first artworks, they were amazing, but I still felt that every artwork that came was even getting better, which was amazing because you didn't start off bad. It was amazing what you did with the first artwork with the captain, but especially the herbalist, I like her very much, and I think that the color palette is just fantastic. That's just a beauty to look at. How long does it take you now, what we see in this time lapse, to going from start to finish?
This time lapse is between 16 and 18 times, I think. So it depends. Sometimes when it's a very boring part, I tend to make it even faster. Mm-hmm. And but I think it's in total like 6 to 8 hours of raw material.
Oh wow! Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's not involving the basic sketch I do in the very beginning, where I just try to get a grasp of the forms the photo is giving me. So but I do not record that because it's basically just me scribbling around and smearing around with my pen, and I start the videos where it starts to get interesting for the viewer.
And I can see you do put lots of detail into the faces. So like normally you could say, okay, it wouldn't be important that the people would recognize themselves for this game. Like we just need some characters. They can be fantasy characters. But we did put quite a bit of effort to have like real life people in the game.
Yeah.
And of course, it is fun for me as the author that I know those people and I can say, okay, I'm playing the herbalist now. I'm playing the troublemaker, and like I know exactly the whole story, the personal story behind this. But I think it's cool because we're having some special guests that will join us in the character artworks, and I love how much detail you really put into the faces and to put into the recognizability of the people that apply for our character artworks.
Yeah, and that's also thanks to art direction, because the reference pictures, especially with the herbalist, as you can see, the reference picture is quite amazing. So the photo as itself is already good, and I don't have to do too much to make it look good in the end. And
yeah, it's just easy, isn't it?
Yeah, just copy and paste.
No, don't have to do much.
Well, kind of. But if you imagine back then when we did Glenmore, for example, we had our characters were much more stylized. So because of the small size of the tiles, we had to find a way to communicate a face to the player, even if it's just like 5 centimeters in size. And that's the great thing with Feed the Kraken, because you told me right from the get-go that the size we're gonna have is reasonable to put a really detailed face and really detailed artwork on it. Yeah, and basically that is what art direction wanted from me. So yeah, and I remember, Michael, when we did your portrait as the first, I did a little step by step, or I sent different steps and told you how much time it would take to reach a certain level of detail. I think I sent you like 4 or 5 different versions, which are in a different budget, of course, and would take a different amount of time. And in the end, you said, yeah, we want the maximum, basically.
Yes.
So you wanted all the detail, all the artsy-fartsy stuff, all the
I want to have them all. Yes, no doubt. I want to have the maximum.
And that was the point when I knew, okay, with this, well, the amount of time and the budget that was given to me was really enough to go really detailed and go quite to get quite close to the photos or the references. Yeah, that's what made me happy. When you told me we want a full detailed version and stuff, I knew that now I can go full in and do what I like, and we don't have to stylize too much, and I can work in a realistic way and in a big way, especially.
If I see the artworks now, you think it's okay, you invest the money for it, you invest the time, you've been working on it for quite a long time, and you need to provide with the budget. But having these artworks on this character card that you can play out in the course of the game, and reveal your special ability, it's just awesome. It has something of this love that you can put into a board game, the love to detail and the love to the material. And it just is enjoyable to also design the product that way, and it will be enjoyable for the players to see that maybe even from the gameplay, you're not playing with these cards all the time, they have a special place in the game, but it's still, there wasn't a decision, okay, it has to be the cheapest way because you don't see it that much, it's not lying open maybe for a long time. And I think this is the approach that we enjoy making in the games, and that you enjoy painting, and that the designers obviously enjoy seeing as part of the game that they have been working on for such a long time. And I'm really much looking forward to when we get the digital proof for the final box, and you see the detail that's not only in the artworks, it's also in the 3D models of the ship and of the Kraken. When we started out, the Kraken was basically some cardboard on the map, and now we have these 3D Krakens, and it's just it takes the game to a different level from the feeling of how you can enjoy it. If it's on the table, it really becomes a journey.